Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. I'm always excited to introduce the Terran player in the blue. It is the Frenchman from Team Liquid, the Kid, Clem. Up against the best Protoss player, and arguably the best player in the United States of America. My fellow Americans, put your likes and subscribes together for Astrea, the Battle Mage, our best hope in a relatively dark time. Well, it is a best of 3 here in the ESL Cup. Astrea starting off with 2 gates, so that means we don't have much time to beg for 1,020 likes. If we get 1,020 likes on this video, I'll cast another StarCraft 2 series tomorrow. And I'll probably do it anyways. And a lot of people have mentioned, Winter, you have way more than 1,020 likes. But a lot of people look to jump and improve so quickly. They look to skip and get this cheap sense of accomplishment. This cannon rush level amount of moving up the ladder. I think incremental improvement is the best way to go. A solid baseline. Whether it is learning your build orders in a strategy game, or begging for likes on YouTube. So, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy. And I'm looking forward already to what these two have in store. Terran versus Protoss, the ESL Cup. Astrea is doing effectively a PvP build, though he did build a Reaper wall. He's turned the tables on the aggression here that Clem usually exhibits by simply having 2 gateways, which I have not seen this in this particular fashion. It's mass adepts up against Clem, who did a more standard. I'm not sure you let the adepts in here. I mean, he does. The door was open, so he comes right on in. The Marines, but 4 adepts can one-shot those Marines pretty easily. Loses 1, but whittling down the Marine count. Adepts repositioning. Now a Cyclone added on, so that's going to make things a little more difficult here. Ends up losing the Adepts, but 2 more into the natural. He's just flinging them in there. And hoping for the best. And so far getting a decent amount of damage done. How many SCV kills? We're at 5 and 6 Marines. Though the Cyclone does make it easy enough to drive away those small amounts of Adepts. Gets out with both. Last Cyclone missile doesn't quite land. I don't know if this has done enough to justify it so far, because when you go for the 2 gates early on, you do kind of slow down the rest of your tech and economic development. Now, there is Blink following it up. Clem certainly didn't expect this proxy pylon. The medevac doesn't have boost quite yet. Boost right back, and re-angles here. Successfully jukes the army and heads back home, at least for now. Getting that medevac, one more Stalker would have done it, but getting that medevac full of Marines would have been a decisive advantage for Astrea. But instead, Clem does get pinned back at home. He's now finishing up Barracks 2 and 3. Engineering bay on the way. Siege tanks in production. Robotics bay for Astrea, who's really looking to lean on this 2 base. Though does finally have that 3rd Nexus. I say finally, as 5 minutes is a bit on the late side, certainly, when it comes to a Nexus timing. That does allow Astrea to get most of his tech he needs for the mid-game out. The one glaring thing is going to be the gateway count. Currently sitting at 2, which it has been for quite a bit. So Astrea is going to need to shore that up a bit as the 3rd base comes online. Otherwise, it's going to be very vulnerable to the stim, the combat shield, and Clem, give me the +1. Clem. He finished his engine. You know what? Time for the engineering bay cam. Thank you. All right. Stim combat shield +1. The triple threat on the way for the most dangerous possible army in the early game here. What do we have in the main? Okay. All right. It's an observer. Colossus in production. And so far, Clem, he's built up your standard siege tank, Marine Marauder medevac army. The question will be, does Astrea have enough to match him on the field by the time he comes across? Not too many gates out there. Raven on the back line. Oh, loses 3 and... Oh, barely gets out with the 4th adept, but a Marauder out there to meet him. Blunk's in with the Stalkers. Now, those Stalkers gonna use the Reaper Cliffs, I think, to escape. Clever moves here. Gets a few. Beautiful blink. Astrea's control on a great day is one of the best. Excuse me. Say those Stalkers as they blink away from the Cyclone. But now the triple threat completing. They'll plus one a little further off. The Terran army is a lot to contend with, and Astrea has a lot of infrastructure right now, but he doesn't have too much in the way of active army. Raven on the back line means no interference matrix. Drop on the left side means army is stretched somewhat thin. And that potentially opens up the main base where all the tech is here near the Reaper Wall. I haven't made my feelings about the Reaper Wall clear in a while, but I do feel like most games it's a liability more than a benefit. Cybercore will have to be replaced. The Raven is zoned out for now. The Robo and Twilight Council vulnerable. The Colossi do not have extended thermal lens. There are a couple Widow Mines here starting to zone out the Protoss army. You can't really close the distance, even with the Colossi. The Robo gonna go down as Clem just slams into this weak point. Force field good, locks in a Cyclone and a Marauder. But losing the robotics facility while building Colossi is clearly not ideal, as Clem is just tearing him apart right now. It is going from bad, transitioning directly into worse. As Clem finds the Robo Bay, he's upgrading Gravitic Drive here. Clem might not realize that's not extended thermal lance. Unless, well, he checks the Colossi momentarily. But either way, the tech is being dismantled. The Gravitic Drive is delayed. The Robo Bay itself, shields are down. Clem continues to send units across the map. Astrea's supply is still healthy enough. He's got to be very careful about how he engages this. Widow Mine connects. More Widow Mines moving up. These ones slam right into the Zealots. Blink Stalker's going forward. Scans and kills the Observer, just kind of incidentally. Double Robo on the way to make up for lost time. Raven at the back, slaps down an auto turret. Why not go for 2? Gonna kill some more probes. And now Clem, showing why he is a fearsome Terran to contend with. Astrea, besides the positioning of the buildings, I don't think made any key mistakes. It's just Clem. It's not so much mistakes as just being slightly in the wrong place at the wrong time. I know that sounds like mistakes, but Clem is so able to exploit that positioning. And he's not going to slip. He's not going to just lose his medevacs. He's not going to get his siege tanks caught without doing a bunch of damage. The Widow Mines are always going to be in position. The Chew Toy depots for the Zealots. Give them something to gnaw on while your army moves into position. Classic tactic. Zealots easily distracted. All right, just give them a depot. They'll keep themselves busy. It's like a dog with a stick. Double Ruptor on the way. Astrea, the best I could say for him is he kept his bases intact. And he keeps the upgrades running. And disruptors can always threaten. The Robo Bay has not been... You don't need the Robo Bay powered to build anything but the upgrades. But it does look a little embarrassing. Well, Astrea does need to find some way to pull Clem back. At least for a few moments. Has Clem now with 115 army supply. One key point. No, he does have an armor. He hasn't started 2-2. So if Astrea can hold on until +2, that is 1 point of advantage. Trying to move forward. A few ghosts show up though. EMP wipes out the shields of half the army. And the rest follows. Vikings knocking down the Colossi through battery overcharge. Disruptor shows up. Nexus is gone. Second Disruptor gun down. And Clem continues marching through. The Colossi standing tall with about 4 HP. The Vikings still intact. Some charge lots wanders into the scan with some DTs. But Clem is running the table right now. I feel like, oh, the Disruptor shots. Targets 1, targets 2. Third one dodged. Charge lots in the back of the base. The last gasp here. Astrea under heavy pressure, but if Clem doesn't deal with this directly, he could lose most of his economy, and then one bad Disruptor shot can turn the fight at the front. Widowmine. Not Widowmine. Warp Prism goes down. And the Zealots will be cleaned up. Clem still with a solid economy. He has 4 bases to 3. DT at the natural. EMP'd. Catches the orbital into EMP, but doesn't matter anymore. The Viking count pretty solid here. Astrea, it's just, he hasn't been able to get anything here. The Widow Mines are across the field. At least there is an observer for some of them. Spots the army. Astrea's supply blocked at 139 over 133. It ain't great. Another Widow Mine. Will Clem target it onto the Colossus? No, but he slams into the army. Disruptor shot. Strongly discourages the Ghost from closing the distance. EMP. Catches a Ghost. Incidental Widow Mine kill. Another Ruptor. Another Ghost and Marauder. Clem barely dips below 200. Another shot. Parts the Blue Sea. Another shot. Commentary getting kind of repetitive. The Dark Shrine is right there. Another shot. Down it goes. Another shot. Target fire. Another shot. Never mind. GK. Clem with a decisive game 1. Making it look not easy, but not particularly close. Astrea tried the 2-gate. Whatever he was looking for, he didn't find it. I think Clem, the devil you know, right? Not Clem, the devil, in this case. But instead, he let the Adepts into the main. And he lost some Marines. He lost some SCVs. But he did eliminate the Adepts. So that removed, like... I think Astrea was busy thinking whether or not he could when it came to getting into the main. Instead of whether or not he should. And that did end up killing a lot of the momentum of the 2-gate. Which you rely on to kind of get any advantage. So, game 1 goes to the Frenchman. American Protoss floundering a bit there. And can we talk about... Can I get back on the Reaper Wall hate train? I really feel... One, not even every game has a Reaper. But Astrea's tech, all the Protoss tech pustule getting popped by the Terran army. It sounds disgusting, because it is. And it's supposed to. But it's been a while since I've seen it so decisively. But losing the Cyber Core, Gate, losing a Robo right when you're building Colossi. One player I really like, well, the player you should look out for in general is stats. Showtime's also quite good about it. Showtime, the European stats. He's not going to lose the SCV, right? Okay. Yeah, no, of course not. Of course not. It was reactive. But, yeah, the Reaper Wall is... that's what it's for. That's it. That is the entire setup. Because Protoss players can't fly their buildings around, the entire setup is designed to keep the Reaper from getting in the base. That's how horrible Reapers are. But, of course, when you have so much of your infrastructure right up against a cliff, quite literally, it becomes relatively easy for units from the low ground to just pick it off, as we saw last game. And I do think that made a big difference. Well, Clem showing why he's still considered one of the very best in the world. Like, Astrea is, I believe, ranked #1 in North America right now. He can relatively consistently beat the top players. And at least hang with them. Though, I think us Americans are a little more well-suited to talking rather than playing, personally. And also modesty is another one of our strong suits. Among many. Thank you. So like and subscribe if you agree. And also if you disagree. Let's not throw too much decision-making into it. Well, double Reaper off the reactor. It's now Clem's turn to land the aggression, but the battery finishes just barely in time. Is there another Stalker to chase this down? The probes will fight off the Marines with the help of the shield battery. Almost no kills here. This time, Clem is the aggressor, and Clem gets shut down. Yeah, overall, Astrea has lost 1 probe. Takes his third. 4 minutes. Blink on the way. A much more defensive posture here. Which means Astrea can take back some map. Well, the most dangerous potential attack for minimal cost. But once again, Astrea gonna spot the medevac. Any damage on the medevac is a huge deal here, let alone killing it. He's not gonna kill it. But I think 3 Stalker shots away from death here. And if he gets the Widow Mine drop with minimal damage, that's a huge part of handling the early game. It's a massive weight off your shoulders. And it's confirmed there's not... another key part. It confirms there's no big follow-up here. You don't send out the Widow Mine drop, and then you just simply can't have a stim push or a siege tank push. He doesn't know there are Widow Mines in there, but there's a strong suspicion. And the hallucinated Phoenix is going to cover the rest. So, just being able to zone this out while he gets his third base up is a huge mental and literal weight lifted that will give a lot more space to Astrea to develop his infrastructure, his economy, his tech, his acceptance speech. What else do you develop? Video games, subdivisions, reasons to continue this train of commentary, you know, and so on and so forth. Raven done. Triple threat on the way, but quite a while out. And I'm feeling a lot better. I'm completely unbiased, but I want to see American players do well. Ever since Neeb left us to go back to school. Though he still plays occasionally, but isn't actively practicing. Medevac will be repaired. A rare sight, indeed. Widowmine drop heads out again. Takes another angle. Raven at the very front. Blink is done, but Astrea does not have particularly... only 7 Stalkers on the field. Blink, never a bad upgrade to have. It's just a matter of whether you have anything to back it up. Alright, Astrea at 65 probes. Wow, he's really shot up there now. Distinctive advantage. He's got 5 gates, but he does have +1 extended thermal lance. Oh, the Widowmine drop is intercepted yet again. It's not quite enough. +1 wasn't done. The Widowmine drop again. In a precarious position. Force fields, good. Zoning out the army. He needs to buy some time. He needs +1. Extended thermal lance would be great, but at least another Colossus. Absolutely required to shut this down confidently. Another Widowmine drop is sent out. This one, Clem is so good about queuing them up in the safe locations. Just the existence does pin some of these Stalkers back, clearly. Probably doesn't need to be that many. But the 4th Nexus is being taken along the vertical line there from Astrea. Ooh. I believe an observer was just taken out. Extended thermal lance, 9 seconds out. Astrea really trying right now to bait out the interference matrices. Whoa, beautiful force field. Completes the wall. Oh, just warp in a High Templar and feed back that Raven. The Raven is the glaring... Oh my... Oh no. Oh, he blunked in. Oh no. The Zealots on the other side, though, finding some damage. Widowmine's drawn into the siege tank. And in fact, Clem might have been overstaying his welcome here, as the interference matrix is exhausted on one of the Colossi. The other one was fighting throughout all of it. He does need to clear out these Widow Mines. That's the key issue here. But the charge lock can... Oh. Okay, Astrea reacts, but he's transferring probes. Ah! Well, he's building an observer here. This should remind him that those Widow Mines exist. Can we go to the Astrea cam? Yeah. The observer just came out, so... Dealing with this. Their Widow Mine... Oh my god. Come out here playing Minecraft again. Huh, but Astrea has handled it. He's got to clear up the minefields. Oh. Another one. Are we going to see the classic Colossi? Stand right there over there. Stand right there, Billy. Stand right there. Why? Weapons test. The most painful way to clear a Widow Mine. Disruptors on the way. Spylon there. Looking for anything at the front. Finds the Marine. Double upgrades. Infrastructure looking much more tucked in this time around. I think Astrea's learned his lesson. You cannot give Clem an inch or he'll take a kilometer. +2/+2 on the way starting for Clem. +2 ground weapons about to complete for Astrea. I don't know why I said it so dramatically, but that is an advantage for the American. And this time around, Astrea has a supply lead going into the later game maxed out phase, which is a big deal. That allows him to kind of dictate the pace of these engagements. And the first few seconds of any fight is absolutely critical. And the first few seconds are going to be highlighted by Astrea killing 8 SCVs, as well as dragging multiple medevacs back into the main, which allows him to maybe do some damage at the natural. Hallucinates Archons just to get in the way of things. I'm not sure that's helping. The Vikings are taking down the Colossi, and the if only they were real. Interference matrix on an Immortal, but overall, Clem is able to deal with that. Yeah, he hallucinated the... I guess if there wasn't a scan, but there was a Raven, so... I'm not sure. I kind of like the idea, but a lot of reasons why maybe not. The thing is, the sentries probably would have ended up EMP'd anyways, so... Well, Astrea, the key part is he killed some economy. Was it enough? He does have quite a decisive advantage besides the Grand Mule Canyon there. Oh, Widow Mines taking a bite out of the Zealots over to the left flank. Astrea looking for the 4th command center. He may very well get it here. Repair is good. Disruptor shot, and the repair is able to keep things intact for a while. He actually fired both shots, which means one of the Immortals is going to be caught and killed. Disruptor, though, from downtown, connects. And Astrea gets something, but he loses the Ruptor in the process. Some of them are cooling down and heating up. Splits. 2 shots, medium kills. More charge lots on the opposite side. 3rd base evacuated. Orbital command under attack. 5 more SCVs down. Disruptor still being flung out in the center of the map. And Astrea is starting to build some more momentum again. He did lose a bit of it in those series of fights across the center of the map. But now, with all this infrastructure, he's got triple robo. Triple disruptor here. +3, +2 on the way for Astrea. About to finish +3 weapons. Clem's finished 2-2, but he just started +3 infantry weapons, which means the ground army of Astrea is going to be able to compete heads up with a lot of those bio units, especially if they aren't supported by ghosts. Disruptor shot. Over towards the 4th. A couple zealots make it through the minefield. Back into the 3rd base, though Clem still has 70 SCVs, which is a comfortable enough economy. One disruptor clipped. Another shot covers it as it retreats. Extended thermal lance colossi. Very important for zoning out the ground army if it tries to jump on the Ruptors. So that means the army compositions grow more and more and more complex over time. Vikings, Ghosts, and Bio here, as well as Disruptor Colossus. No sentries in the mix for Guardian Shield. Vikings chasing, Disruptor shots, nothing but air right now. Firing shots off, losing so many. Anti-armor missile on the back line. But can he chase? Can he capitalize? But the Zealots are back in the 3rd. Every time Clem looks forward, he has to look all the way back. As another dozen SCVs, the orbital burning after all this. Trying to kill a handful more. And Clem keeps taking economic damage. There has not been any sort of counterattack. Astrea has not been able to break Clem, but Clem hasn't even touched Astrea on the other side. So overall, if Astrea is able to keep this up, eventually he will find the fight that breaks through. He has to be very, very careful not to get surrounded and killed by that dangerous high DPS Terran army. Or caught completely off guard in a base trade of sorts. Which right now, one base will have to be canceled. Here comes Astrea. Disruptor shots. Just as dangerous to Zealots as they are to Bio. Vikings kiting back. The Terran army will go into something of a base trade here. Of course we are. The recall into the natural. Loses one robo, depowers the other. Astrea loses 15 probes and Clem is maxed out, but a disruptor shot starts to even things out, but 2 disruptors go down. Some of them were abandoned on the other side. I don't know how this happened, but Clem is now up 25 supply. Never base traded Terran. Unfortunately, Astrea didn't realize he was base trading until he had already lost the base. There are warp prisms in multiple locations right now. Dark Templar being warped in towards the main. Anything to keep Clem busy. DT Blink is yet to complete. Shields are on the way. Alright, DT slicing through. 7, 8 SCVs. The multi-prism plays. Looking for more. Just keep slicing. And guns down the... Well, one of the... How many prisms are left? There's still one prism on the field. I love the multi-prism, though. Makes so much sense at this stage of the game. You desperately need to keep the Terran from focusing everything in one place at one time. So that way you can whittle down the army with Ruptors. Fires a shot. One volley. Looks for more. The most dangerous force fields. Gets the planetary. Fade away. Splits back, but Clem is unable to pursue. 2 more robos on the way. That'll bring the count to 4. The quad robo. Well, that will certainly be quite... There are 10 disruptors on the field against 0 liberators, which are the natural predator to disruptors. And that, at some point, he's going to be able to just coat the entire screen with purification novas. Another Clem darts into the same place as last time, though. He finds an opportunity. He has so many metapacks, he could just drop into the main. DT Blink looking to slice through the planetary, but a bit disjointed means the SCVs will come out to repair. And Clem holds on to the planetary. He's still at 200 supply, I might add. So no matter how many disruptors there are, split between different sides of the map, targets 1, 2, 3, and doesn't land any shots, though the army of Astrea is closing in. Widowmine connects, gets some of it. Microing on 2 fronts is Clem right now. Astrea trying to box him out, but the Terran army is closing in. 4 disruptors in production at once, an obscene number right now, as it doesn't seem like any of them... Oh, Fusillade! He just unleashes a broadside, and it slams directly into Clem. He finally slips. He's looking the wrong way, and Astrea backhands him. with 4 Purification Novas. And that is the sort of momentum shift that Astrea has needed for several minutes now. Clem still has a lot of supply, but he has nothing on the other side of the map. The Vikings are clearly back at home, trying to get, well, save them from the Zealots in the main. Wait, this is the main. The main command center floated over to this 4th base, 5th base location, and now it's gonna float into death as the Stalkers will chase it down. A few Archons, enough anti-air. The Disruptors are covering the army. Clem is still at 185 supply. 138 of it is army. But the Disruptor count is disgusting. He's going up to 16. Fires a shot. Big hits. Another shot. Another one. And still no Liberators. Another one. Another one. Another. Just keeps going. The continuous fire suppressing Novas right now, as Clem simply cannot close the distance. He picks up and he heads anywhere else. And Clem, unwilling to play that out from there. Astrea just unloads nearly infinite disruptor shots. At some point, they'll hit. If you fire at the entire screen, they're gonna hit something. Truly an example of quantity being a quality all its own. An entertaining, if ham-fisted method of engaging Clem there. But his micro is just so good, you have to deny it. And that is about as good as it's gonna get. So the American Protoss takes 1. We're all tied up. And that leaves us in the final match of the series. Of this best of 3. This summer, coming to you, a YouTube channel near you, Game 3. The epic conclusion of Clem versus Astrea. Babylon. Astrea showing that if, so far the aggressor in each game has lost a lot, has been shut down and lost a lot of momentum. With Game 1, Astrea's 2-gate being quarantined and dealt with. Game 2, Clem's early Reaper into Whittle Mines just being zoned out and denied. So, honestly, if the trend continues, I feel like neither player will go for a particularly early aggressive play. Though Clem has gotten 2 gases. This has become a lot more common. Getting 2 gases early on allows you to tech up much more quickly. You get the factory, and anything out of that. A lot of the times it's a Cyclone, but we did last game see that Hellion Reaper play. But it's just a single Reaper. He didn't go reactor first. The probe trying to sneak in. Getting info about the command center timing is huge. Oh my god. I don't think the SCV saw it. A string. Crouching probe, hidden pylon. Well, I doubt he'll put a pylon. Please don't put a pylon. He may have caught a glimpse of it. Yeah, the Reaper's back here. Twilight on the way, but this map's Reaper wall is significantly less vulnerable from the low ground. It's gonna be another Rax out of Clem. High-powered series so far. Like many Protoss nowadays, I think Astrea is struggling with consistency. Just as it does feel with Protoss and has for a long time, that you have to kind of pull one over on your opponents to get an advantage. And to be honest, a lot of the time that feels bad for the opponents as well. But Astrea showing you can just play a nice solid defensive game and still come out on top. Though, there are many points where it feels somewhat risky. Adept shade away, but the Reaper finishes it off. He did delay the command center as well, and gets away with only 1 Adept lock. Very cute plays here from Astrea. Adept dipping in and out of the bushes, denying vision. I do like how the like vision blockers are integrated into the aesthetic of the map. I remember early on in SC2 where there'd just be like a watchtower in the middle of the map and then like a ring of trees. Like it's some sort of weird alien sculpture art or something. But now it feels very natural. Or like just the back of the base had this one part with smoke geysers or something. But the vision blockers feel almost so natural that you don't even realize them nowadays. Map makers have gotten so good at really making the map feel... You know, the Ewoks here have killed more Marines than many of the players. We saw the lore on that a few series ago with the Marines getting blasted into the Ewok pits. But the deep lore is not something we have time to get into, as Blink is already done. Robo Bay on the way. Astrea going with the more conservative third base, making sure he has all the tech out early here. And the Reaper even being... Oh, that's not the Reaper. That's not a that's a Hellion! I know the difference. The Hellion denies the base for a moment. Observer about to get into the main. Alright, Stim. About to finish up 2 siege tanks. A dangerous number. This is one of those trademark Clem early mech pushes. EMPs, if you would. Easily confused. But he only has a handful of units here, but a very fierce handful. Even with the Immortal, this is still a very tough army to beat. At least until a few more warpins. And he's jammed himself into such a tough location. Combat shield isn't quite done yet. Siege tanks already triggering the barrier on the Immortal. Damage is already being dealt. He's really just shoved himself in here. But the Colossus comes out, and that's going to have to be a decisive part of this. Shield battery coming online. That shield battery plus overcharge, I think, is what will make the difference. You can't wait much longer. A third tank is sieging up. This is really, it's getting out of hand very quickly. Technically, it's not hitting anything critical yet, but... the Nexus! The Nexus! Hello? Anyone? There's the Nexus! I don't know. Oh, he blinks in. Cuts off the reinforcement. He did lose the Nexus. So, you know, this is a very bold move from Astrea, or desperate. You know, two sides of the same coin. He recalls the army back, but Clem calls his bluff. Clem did not leave. He did not retreat. He's still there. He remained sieged. I think Astrea kind of assumed he'd move out, but the tanks... Astrea just recalled into a more contained location. Oh, I think Astrea kind of outplayed himself here. Oh no. Hallucinated Archon to lead the charge. Eats a couple hits. That's something. Where's the battery overcharge? Well, the siege tanks target down one of the Colossi. Looking for more. There goes two. Oh. And more great commentary every day here. Medevac's being cut off by stalkers. So that's something. Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things here, though, Clem has a third command center, even if it isn't an orbital, whereas Astrea is still sitting at the top of his ramp. He finds a prism. He's about to have +1, but the breakout did not succeed. Oh, charge lots could help a lot, but Clem is continually reinforcing this push. Wait, is this 2 prisms? No, that's the same prism. Charge lots, but Clem saves the day with the medevac. Astrea, well, here we go. Gonna try to break out. The Colossi standing tall, starting to melt through. There's not that much damage on them. They don't have extended thermal lance, but it doesn't appear they need it. So Astrea will break out of his the contain. But at what cost? He loses... in the units lost tab, it looks about even, but you can look at the supply here. And Clem has 12 more SCVs. He doesn't actually have +1 infantry weapons. He's getting +1 armor. Which I'm not sure how that stacks up against the Colossi, but... the Colossus drop, like... Well, Astrea gonna try to... well, he blunks on the army, sensing weakness here, and maybe correctly. Though the Colossi are a bit distracted by that refinery. They're easily distracted creatures. Okay. They see a lot of stuff from that vantage point. Unfortunately, a vantage point so high that Vikings can hit it. And speaking of, several on the field. Yeah, +1 armor first for Clem. DT Blink is already on the way for Astrea here, which is kind of a crazy play in the grand scheme of things. DT is warped in. Still a precarious position economically for the American Protoss. Oh, gonna try to drop a DT into the base. They will give away the Dark Templar, though. Loses the Prism. And there's going to be a turret at the natural. Ah! Well, this is a lot of annoyance here, but look at the supplies. Oh my. Like, that is a 55 to 101. The army supply is overwhelming. And there aren't any, there's one disruptor. I'm not even sure if one disruptor can hit enough of this army, even if it got a max radius hit. Force fields will delay. Vikings snipe off a Colossus. There's not enough stalkers here to deny. Disruptor shot does pretty well. I'm not sure if taking down those rocks matters, but Clem focuses on it. Force fields. That's so much Terran. That is so much Terran. Siege tank push reasserts itself at the outside the natural. 1 DT, losing 13 probes, getting chased to the ends of the earth. More food for the Ewoks, or literally the sharks. I think there are some literal sharks out there. Oh, this is good. Yeah, here we go. He's coming down the ramp. Disruptor doesn't find anything. Vikings knock down a Colossus. Disruptor shot. And the bio army just stimming right through. There's nothing left. Clem is gonna claim it. It's gonna be 2 to 1. And pretty decisively. Astrea, with his mass disruptor plays, was able to take a game. But this time around, Clem, with the kind of conservative tank push, still just latches on and doesn't let go at the bottom of the ramp. He pounds the point home. And this time around, decisively, Clem will take it. 2 games to 1. Thank you for watching. Remember, we're going for 1,020 likes. We'll cast another series tomorrow. Thank you guys for all the support. Might I mention, I'm trying to add new things. Jimmy says to add new things to the list. The join button. Do you want to be a member on YouTube? I don't know why. You get the videos either way. But I don't even think like it stops ads from happening. So I just get more money. Anyways, also, I hope I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.